Good evening, Sunshine Coast, and welcome to another episode of Local Focus. We're up to episode 11, legs 11, and I'm your host, Darren from Digital Barista, where I serve up freshly brewed content strategies, tips and tricks to help small business owners and entrepreneurs get started with live streaming. And I'm really excited about our guest tonight. This is a super young couple that have embraced the entrepreneurial spirit. So let's introduce the guys. It is Claudia and
Cooper.
I remember seeing Cooper and I think, oh, is that the last name or the first name?
Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome to the studio, guys.
Thanks
for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
I saw one of your posts in one of the local groups. I can't remember which one it was, and I thought I'll look into that one a little bit more because you look pretty young. And these guys are actually only 20 years old, would you believe?
Yeah.
And they've already sort of entered their second business, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And I really enjoy talking to young people that have that entrepreneurial spirit, that are really sort of looking to do something different with their lives. And you guys certainly fit the bill with that one. So why don't you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the history of Beyond Honey?
So we are a local Sunshine Coast owned business that produces 100% raw honey, honeycomb and honey infusions through the modern technology of flow hives. So the way that we achieve this more sustainable, ethical approach to beekeeping and honey production, as well as producing a higher quality product, is we use a Australian owned and made invention called flow hive. And that allows us to go to our hives, we turn a tap and the honey flows straight out of the hive into the jar. And yeah, that's kind of
our hives are between Karoi and North Arm, Yandina. So we've got 70 hives at the moment.
70. Okay. Well, I was doing my research and you had 60.
Yeah. So you've
upped the ante again.
Yeah. So we've got 4 sites at the moment. Yep. Hopefully we'll be at 5 in the next month, and we want to be around the 130 to 150 hives by this Christmas.
Okay. So this all started off as a hobby for you guys, the beekeeping, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't know too many 18-year-olds that are into beekeeping.
Yeah, so
a bit unusual. So how did you guys get into?
Definitely different. So Claudia's parents live on a bit of property down in Central Coast in Sydney, and they had a beekeeper there, and we were sort of watching what he was doing and got interested, I guess, and then started watching YouTube videos and found Flow Hive and thought, well, let's give it a shot and get one. So we started off with 1 hive, and we had 1 hive for 6 months or so.
Yep.
And then in that time, Mum and Dad moved up to the Sunshine Coast, and then our main line of work, our other business that we started before COVID, got cancelled overnight due to COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, let's just build up Beyond Honey and see
all your efforts into that one.
Yeah. We really looked at the beekeeping industry as a whole, as well as the way that conventional beekeepers actually, practice, harvesting honey. So the rigorous process of those big drums and mixing and stirring and heating and treating, and this is a very generic practice. This happens all the time, and we looked at it, I think, from a fresh perspective, because we are 20. At that point, we were 19, or actually we were 18.
18, yeah.
So it was a very different perspective than the beekeeper who's been doing it for 50, 60 years. His grandfather taught him, and,
correct. Yeah, right.
That kind of stuff. Our parents have no interest in bees. It was completely random. We love nature, and we've always loved
sustainability and
the environment. And we kind of, I think this generation is kind of really realizes the importance of sustainability, especially with the way climate change is going, and bees in general. There is such a
pollinators in general.
There is such a dire need to protect our pollinators, because it is so severe due to climate change and the effects it's having on our pollinators.
Deforestation, everything.
Well, I mean, if we go back to the start of last year, massive bushfires across Australia.
And
that would have decimated an amazing amount of bees.
And the drought before that.
Correct.
That was really bad.
Yeah, I don't think people perhaps understand, or maybe they do, but perhaps they don't understand the full role that that bees play
Definitely, yeah.
Not only in society, but like in the environment.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
it's huge.
1 to 2/3 of all of our food is derived from pollinators.
Yeah.
So pollinating your fruits and veggies
And as well as that, up to 80% of your natural kind of wildflowers, like, the forests and, that kind of stuff, 80% of that relies on pollination. And so obviously before all of this deforestation, native bees, obviously would have done a really good job because there would have been, a really wide range of areas where there were native bees. And so because they only pollinate in a 250-meter radius, so very, very small compared to our European bees that produce our honey, which is desperate, up to 10 kilometers, and generally up to 5 kilometers. And so that's covering a massive area. And so that's another thing, why European bees are so important at the moment is because they're getting the job done quicker and they're actually trying to combat the effects of climate change. We're losing that rainforest, those bushland areas. As population grows, we're trying to combat that with bees, because the more we have pollinators around, the more, native plants and also, kind of just the natural area is being, it's thriving. We're making a positive impact on the environment and
And I guess ultimately, with a little bit of research that I've done, the flow hive, and we'll talk more about that in a minute, but I guess it's perhaps less disruptive to the bees as well.
Yeah, definitely. So when we go to harvest our honey, we don't have to open the box up. We don't have to disturb the bees. We just slide in a key into the frame, turn it, and underneath the cappings that the bees stand on, the comb just separates and lets the honey drain out.
Yep.
And the cells are designed in a way that if there is a bee down in the cell depositing nectar, when it cracks, it doesn't actually pinch the bee in the cell.
Yeah.
So as soon as you then open it back up again, the bee crawls straight back out and continues a day's work.
And I think those guys, the guys that invented, they're a father and son duo.
Yeah.
And I think I remember seeing, I think there was a documentary on ABC, Australian Story or something like that on ABC.
Landline did one. And,
just an incredible journey. And I think it was like 10 years to develop the flow hive. And then they launched it on, I think it was Indiegogo was the platform.
It was the largest.
Well, they had a target. They only had a target of $70,000, and they got that in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
I think they ended up getting 16 million.
12
12
million
million.
US
Yeah.
in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is in
that's-
pre-orders. That's just pre-orders.
Yeah.
So I guess the beekeeping, well, not only beekeeping society, but people that thought, okay, well, maybe this is something that I can actually have a go at.
Yeah, well, it means that you don't have to go out and buy all your extraction equipment and dirty up your kitchen when you want to harvest honey.
Yeah.
You've still got to do all your normal generic inspections and
Yep.
still manage your bees as you would with a conventional hive. But it's just that harvesting is so much easier.
So it's not just putting a box out in the field and saying, okay, we'll see you in X amount of weeks and we'll collect the honey.
Yeah.
So what is the process for those guys that might be a little bit more interested? I know there's a couple of guys particularly that are interested in hearing more about it. So tell us a little bit more about the beekeeping process.
Yeah, so we try to do everything in-house. So we do our queen breeding, we build our own boxes, we do everything inside, so we know that the timber's not treated, nothing's going into it. So we'll start off with what's called a split. So it's a 3-frame split of bees, tiny little hive. We then developed a technique of splitting those off our mother hives, and then we move them back to one of our breeding apiaries. So either our backyard or another site within or outside of 5 kilometers of where we did the split. They'll stay in that little box for about a month. We then check back after 4 weeks and hopefully find a new queen that they've made, and she's gone out on a mating flight and come back, survived, and she's ready to lay 1,500 eggs a day. And once we see that, we then move them up into a slightly bigger box. They'll stay in that for about a month, 6 weeks. If they're going well, then they'll go from that to a bigger box. Then hopefully they'll build that up in another 6 weeks.
So it is a process, and I guess that's more on a commercial scale.
Yeah.
So if someone was wanting to get into it for more of a hobby, you can just have the one hive and then just do the maintenance.
Yeah,
on that
so
hive.
you can go out and buy what's called a nucleus hive. So it's got your queen, 5 frames of bees, baby bees, everything you need.
Yeah.
You put that into your box, they slowly build up, and then you put a second box on top. It's called a super. that's where all the bees go up and put their honey,
Okay.
and then you start
Yeah.
harvesting honey if you're lucky.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they. I was very impressed with the flow hive when I saw it. I thought that's amazing, and I think they had a bit of a struggle really, like to sort of keep up. That was back in 2015, so you guys were too young to know all about that then.
Yeah, still 15 at that point. So yeah.
Goodness, we're only talking before about when I moved up here to the Sunshine Coast in 2000. They're like, oh, that's when we were born. Yeah, great. Thanks, guys. So, and you told me you guys are getting married this year as well. So
Yes.
let's not do things by halves.
Yeah, that was new this week.
Yeah. So we decided to get married because we have been friends for 16 years this year. We went to primary school and high school together. And so we just decided it's time, and you know we want to
Better get a wriggle on.
Yeah,
cool.
And
get a wriggle on. You're 20. Get a wriggle on. Oh wow.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit more about your products, because you do a few different products. We've got the raw honey, like you were saying, and then you've got some infused ones. We can have a look at those on there at the moment. Yeah. So
we do it a bit different to a lot of commercial producers. So we do the runny honey in kilo, half kilo, and 250 gram. But we also do a line of honey infusions, which include macadamia nuts, goji berries, an antioxidant mix, cinnamon, vanilla bean, and lavender. And then we also specialize in honeycomb. So they're our main products.
Yeah. And so with the honeycomb, I've just been a honey consumer all my life, but the honeycomb, you can eat all of it, can you?
Yep. So the wax is completely edible.
Right.
It's what's called virgin wax. So that's the bees have only just created it, just put the honey into it, just capped it, and we go straight in and extract it. So it's not dirty from the bees walking over it for months.
Yeah.
And it's never had brood in it either, which is baby bees, because they leave a little bit of their cocoon in the cell. So you want that really clean white wax.
Excellent.
And you just go in with a knife, chop it up, put it in your mouth, chew on it. You can eat the wax, or you can spit it back out. On a cheese platter. It's absolutely beautiful.
Actually, I saw one of your photos. It was on like a soft cheese, I think.
Yeah,
soft
beautiful,
cheese.
and
It's beautiful.
Pretty
Or
nice.
warm toast, the wax just melts right on.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be cutting down on bread and all that stuff.
Sorry.
I know. But I remembered as a kid, like we would always get, Mum would always get a fresh loaf of bread from the bakery every morning, and it'd still be warm when you got it home, and you put the butter on, and it would just start to melt, and then you put some nice fresh honey on, and delicious.
Yeah, yum.
So I know where you're coming from there. Yeah. So the best way for people to get in touch with you, how do they go about that?
So we have a website, which is www.beyondhoney.net. And we actually also do a few markets around the Sunshine Coast, and we're looking to expand in the next year. So we are doing the Sunshine Coast Collective Markets, which includes Coolum and Alexandra Headlands, as well as Prudhoe Beach. And we are at Coolum RSL every Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And so, we're just selling through those avenues at the moment, and we are in quite a few grocers and cafes around the Sunshine Coast, including, Providore and Hastings Street, and the shop at Coolum, Food Works and things like that.
And we're always at the house we sell out of as well. So that's 109 The Avenue, Prudhoe Springs, and we're pretty much there all the time.
If we're not at markets, we're there. So and so we just really loved. We just couldn't find what we were looking for, as far as the sustainable and ethical kind of process of beekeeping, and we wanted to kind of shake up the industry. It's such a stale industry in general, and there's very minimal inventions, and so that's why the flow hive was like outrageous, because it was so different from anything else. And so we believe that that's the only way you can produce 100% raw, unfiltered, untreated, unheated honey.
Well, that's right, because the normal process is that they're spinning it out and they normally blend the honeys.
And they normally introduce some sort of heat as well.
Well,
so when you're on a large scale, you use heat to make the honey very liquidy and very runny. So you can pump it through all your honey pumps very quickly. As soon as you start heating honey, all your enzymes and all the stuff that's good for you starts to devalue very quickly. So
Well, I think it's fantastic what you guys are doing at such a young age as well.
Thank
So
you.
hats off to you both.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the success with your venture. I'm going to have to buy some of this honey. Yeah, I can't go past a good honey. So thanks for coming into the studio.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you
us.
so
And
much.
I'm sure we'll see you around.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So there you go, guys. There's another episode of Local Focus, and hopefully you'll tune in tomorrow night again as well. We've got another guest on from a B&B up the range. So look forward to that one. So in the meantime, enjoy, maybe grab some honey. That'd be a good idea. And we'll catch you later.